going on YouTube? I am back with another video, you guys, and for the first time in a while you're catching me inside the beast, man. I tend to not record inside the car unless I'm racing or something like that, but today is a special video. Yes, I'm sitting stupid low compared to what I would normally sit, or where I would normally sit, because I had my race seat in. I had planned to go racing this week, but obviously rain, etc. kind of took my plans and said forget that. And then I also put the race seat in for a car show, etc. I have a few more adjustments to make on it, which is why I'm sitting so low. I didn't know at the time, but we're gonna fix that. You guys are gonna see the install video and all that stuff later on this week. But let's get to the topic of today, man. We're gonna be talking about how much it costs and parts that you're gonna need to build your 392 motor, specifically a cam. All right. I love a good cam, or a good sounding cam. It's one of my favorite things when it comes to cars. Now, you definitely see it a lot more in the Chevy side of things, or Corvettes, LS motors, etc., because you can actually just slide the cam straight in, versus our 392 Hemis, where you're actually having to take the engine apart and basically get down to the actual block, which is labor intensive and super expensive sometimes. So that's why you don't really see it in Hemis, but I wanted to explain and show you how much it costs, the process, all of that good stuff. But before we dive into it, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, man. You guys are definitely helping the channel grow like crazy. I'm actually headed up to the shop for a little bit, so you might get some bonus footage here at the end. But let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's go. All right, you guys, let me start by saying the cam is one of those things that you definitely have to like and understand what the cam is going to do for you performance-wise, what it's going to take away, all of that good stuff, and I'll dive into that here shortly. What I want you to know, the pricing, etc., that I'm about to use is from the shop that does all my performance work, but I will not talk about how much they charge me or labor or anything like that. We're going to talk specifically parts, because most shops have the parts for around the same price depending on their relationship with the vendors, etc., right? But we're not going to talk about labor. That's something that you can inquire to Mass Acceleration about, MXAMotorsports.com, or call Mass Acceleration in Denver, North Carolina. Ask for G. That's who helped me do basically everything to the car, and I probably bother him like crazy when it comes to it. But that's who I'm going to be using. I'm going to pull out my notes here in a second. Let's go. So I get this question a lot, and it's, how much power will a cammed SRT 392, Scat Pack 392, whatever you want to call it, actually make, right? And again, I said in the beginning of the video, you're going to sit there around 25 to 60 added horsepower or wheel horsepower to the car, depending on the cam that you get. Now, again, I got a friend with a 274 cam with a Scat Pack that sits at about 474 to the wheel. And I have another friend who's got about 505 to 520 to the wheel, depending on gas, all of that good stuff, right? But what I wanted to show you guys was Mac built and his green Challenger, and I think he sits at about 520 to 525 to the wheel in his car, which is super crazy. I'm gonna put the dyno up right now. Alright, you guys, when it comes to the cam on these 392 Hemis, you need to know that you're going to gain anywhere from 25 to 60 horsepower, depending on the other mods that you may have done to the car, your tuner, timing, all of that good stuff, right? And full disclosure, your 392 Hemi is going to have anywhere between 388 to 420 wheel horsepower, right? That is fully stock, nothing done, etc., right? Secondly, when it comes to the cam, I like to put this out there. Some shops don't necessarily do it, but in my opinion, cam and heads go directly together, and actually keep your engine a little bit safer. So if you're going to do the cam to your car of any sort with a 392 Hemi, I always suggest to do the heads, right? So don't go out here and cam your car because Toro said so, and the next thing you know, you got a piston through the roof or a rod through the floor, and you're upset at me, right? But I'll start this way. When it comes to the cam, you need to pay attention to three things, or know about three things, right? And I have some notes in front of me so I don't have these trolls like rip me apart, right? But you're going to need to know about valve lift, LSA, all right, which is just lobe separation angle, and then overlap. Those are the three important things, in my opinion, that you want to kind of research and know about, and basically look at when it comes to deciding what cam you want to use. And we'll discuss that here later as well. But let's talk about what they actually are, you guys. So your valve lift is just a measure of the distance a valve opens off of its seat, right? And it's kind of important as far as, like I said, I'm reading notes here, but it's important because the higher the lift, the more open the valve, all right? And as far as that, it just basically shows how much air is flowing in and out of a cylinder, and it directly affects the amount of torque and power your engine will produce, right? Now that's something that the cam decides, your tuner decides, and of course the engine block itself. And that's all, again, to me, in my opinion, the tuner can up a little bit of the power, etc., when it comes to the cam, but depending on what stage or custom grind or whatever you want to call it cam that you get, it all determines the power from there. The second one, the actual LSA, the lobe separation angle, all right, is the angle defined as the number of degrees separating the peak lift points of intake and exhaust lobes, all right? And basically the separation of the cam lobe peaks, all right? So the highest point that they get to, you guys, right, has an effect on idle quality, right? So that peak torque, because with cams you're talking about peak, you're going to lose a little bit of bottom end, all right? The actual engine vacuum and cam RPM range. So, can you just mash off, or do you have to get the car going a little bit? All of that, definitely comes into play depending on what cam you get. And then lastly, overlap, all right? It's just a point measured in degrees of crankshaft rotation when the intake and the exhaust valves are open simultaneously. You're going to get a little overlap. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, I think the bigger the overlap, the longer the chop, or the more aggressive the chop, outside of, again, the cam plays a major role in that as well. But that can basically lead to increased horsepower with the overlap, right? And like I said, I'm not a professional when it comes to engine building or anything like that. But I figured, why not kind of give out info as I'm learning it and deciding what's going on in my car, what's not going on. And the best route as far as the 392 and keeping it safe, right? So for me, in my opinion, you have a few different options, right? So I'm going to throw up a comp 274 cam, all right here, okay? Over here, I'm just going to throw up a few stage 1, 2, and 3 cams from other companies that sell them, right here. And then lastly, what I'll tell you, there are custom grind cams. Now, when you start talking about custom cams, you're going to spend a little bit more money. There's a guy, Julian, I think is his name. I'm not 1,000% sure. He owns a green 1320, and he's in North Carolina, and he actually races it and has a custom cam from Mass Acceleration, and it sounds super good. And he runs 11.3s on hot days, right? So you can only imagine what he can run on a good day, as far as that goes, right? Now that we know those three things, what I really want to get into is what kind of cam you should choose, in my opinion, what cam I have on my estimate here, and the reason why I chose it. So what I did was pull up our cost sheet here, right? So I'm going to break this down so you guys know everything that goes in to actually putting a cam on your car, the price, all of that good stuff, and I hope it helps you out. Alright, so like I said, Mass Acceleration, you guys. Hopefully you can see that right there. First things first, again, I did the Stage 2 HRT 222-230 cam for the 6.4 HEMI. I'll be honest, the price of this is $439.98, so you guys can see. Alright, I am not playing any games. And then, I'll be honest, everything from here I'm about to read off, bear with me, right? You're going to have your valve spring kit for your 6.4. That's going to run you $521, all right? That includes your push rods, all of that good stuff, cam phasers, etc. Then you're going to talk about alignment, all right? That's going to run you $104. OAT engine coolant, because you do have to drain it, all right? You're trying to get to the cam. You're basically disassembling the engine, you guys. You have engine oil break-in, you have oil filters, MDS plugs. All of that is going to run you to about $102. Then you have your cylinder head bolts, both the 125 and the 1.5. Those are going to run you $180 for both of them. Then you have miscellaneous things like timing cover gasket, crankshaft seal, oil pump tube seal, timing chains, timing chain guide, chain tensioner. All of that is going to range from $20 to $60. All right. But the big thing that they do is the camshaft phaser and sprocket for your HEMI V8 VVT. That's going to cost you $297. I'm trying to really give out the larger items or the larger costing items. And then another thing that they do that they actually switch out from a Hellcat is the engine oil pump from a 6.2 liter, which is the Hellcat. That charges about $135. Now, that's something that they do specifically that they have seen not only better results, but more reliable results when it comes to actually doing the cam. Now, the engine upper gasket set, of course, they're taking off the engine, etc., manifold, all that other stuff. So you're going to have racing oil go back in, all that good stuff. That is $267. All right. Then to install your camshaft kit, all right, this is where I'm not going to speak too much because this involves labor. All right. But I'll be honest, your parts and supplies, all right, are going to run you $3,341. All right. To cam your 392 HEMI. That is with every single part that is listed. Now, this looks like a long sheet, but they do a very good job of literally parting out every single thing so you can see everything that goes on, because if you're like me, I'm OCD, and when I go to sell the car, I want to be able to hand the person the car and say, hey, this is my build sheet. This is every single thing that's on the car. So for me, huge fan of it, but I'll go ahead and read what they do as far as the install. All right. They're going to install the aftermarket camshaft. They're going to replace timing chain, gears, tensioner, and guides. They're going to replace your oil pump, again with that Hellcat oil pump. They're going to replace lifters, install upgraded valve springs and retainers, and replace the valve seals. They're going to go ahead and replace head gasket, valve cover gaskets. Look at me, I can't even talk. You're going to talk about intake manifold gasket, timing cover gasket, and oil pan gasket. All of these things come off when it comes to doing the cam. They're going to change your oil and filter, use break-in oil to break-in camshaft. All right, here's the big one. They perform the camshaft break-in procedure, which you guys don't know. You can Google it. There is a process that you have to do to break in your cam. I don't know the exact process. I wanted to go in and talk about what you actually had to do, but they were just a little bit busy, and rightfully so. Then they will remove oil filter and drain oil, cut open oil filter, and inspect for issues, especially metal pieces, things of that nature, shavings, all that good stuff. And then they're going to refill with synthetic oil, new filter, and then the test drive and tuning. Here comes the big thing when it comes to these cams, you guys. Tuning. If you don't have a good tuner, don't get a cam in your 392. You will tear your car up in the matter of 10 days. Guaranteed, you guys. But let's get into the tuning part. If you really want to go bit by bit or cost of this, all right, what I'm going to do is literally leave everything in the description. I'm going to copy and paste it so you guys can actually see literally word by word what's on this sheet. All right, let's talk about the tune. When you talk to your tuner, you have to be as honest as possible. You know, you have to let them either know that you want reliability, or if it's only a track car, or what you're going to be doing with the car, but not only when choosing the cam, but you know, running the tune that you're going to want, because you're going to have, again, the reliability of it. You're going to, you know, more for power and less drivability as far as daily, all of that good stuff, right? So for them, they're dyno tune for power, tune for drivability, tune for cold and hot startup, which is huge on these on the cam for the 392, and they have to tune your idle, you know, that chop that everybody likes. That right there costs $1,400, which is, in my opinion, a crazy steal, because you're talking about power, drivability, cold and hot startup, and your idle tune on top of your maps for probably E85, 93 race gas, stuff like that. Absolutely crazy good price. But I'll be honest, there comes a cost to this, man. And in my opinion, the reason I got this estimate is because, yes, I am looking to cam my 1320, you guys. That is in the near future. But I wanted to show you guys what it actually costs to build your 392, and show a little comparison at the end of this series of what it costs to cam a 392 to make the same horsepower as a Hellcat, or something that you're going to idolize or try to beat when it comes to building your Scat Pack or your 392, right? So again, the big things are going to be the actual cam itself. You're going to talk about your lifters, $400, all right, $490 for your cam. The valve spring kit is going to cost you $500. Your oil pump and your camshaft phaser are going to be $300 and another $150. And then your tune's going to sit there around $1,400, plus all these, all right, minute parts, all right, that you are going to see. Now, I know it probably didn't, you know, you can see, hopefully it, there we go. So, in my opinion, is it worth it to build a 392? Yes, if you have that kind of money and want to be a little different and not just go buy the best thing out that's fancy and finance the fastest car out, right? Yes, I would love a Hellcat. You guys know I want a Hellcat at some point, but I realized with this car, man, this is something special. It's rare, and I had the chance to do something pretty crazy with it and create my own niche and lane with the car world for me right now. So that's exactly why I'm bringing you along with my full entire build, and I figured why not show you how much it costs to truly build a car. Now, the downside is, man, you're going to spend a lot of money for, in my opinion, not a lot of horses, man. You know, Cody has a BMW who literally spent about, I mean, I don't know, I'm going to guess like $3,000 to $6,000 and gained about 150 horses to the wheel. And that's one heck of a difference versus 25 to 60 or, you know, 70, right? So you definitely want to think about that when it comes to camming your 392. Now, again, you guys saw the sounds of them. You saw the power that can come out of it. You got to see a little bit of the cost. But like I said, I will literally copy and paste all of this so you can actually run through it yourself. I just didn't want to speak on literally every single thing that's right here. You guys would be like, skip the whole video, right? But what I will tell you is, to me, cam is one of the best sounding things on a car that you can have. And yes, I love, you know, go over show, but when it comes to something like this, man, I saw a cam 392 up there, and man, it was crazy. Like, I really fell in love with it. And it's actually that 390, that purple or hell-raising 392 that you actually saw at the beginning of the video. But again, man, for all your performance needs, Mass Acceleration is where it's at. They can hook you up. Make sure you reach out to G. Hopefully this video helped you out if you were going to cam your car or thinking about building your 392. But again, like I said, we're actually here at the shop, man. So again, we're gonna get some bonus footage, let you see what's back here. But if you haven't already, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, man. Because everything 1320 happens on this channel. You guys are getting to see the build up close and personal, which is, you know, only person that knows right now is Cody, or Cody Too Clean. Make sure you subscribe to his channel as well, you guys. Yeah, let's get out and show you what's in the shop. We have a Pac-Man wrap up in here, you guys. I'm not gonna show everything, but he'll drop it on his YouTube, I'm assuming. What I really wanted to show you guys is this right here. We got a Durango Hellcat getting a tan wrap with red accents. Man, this thing is crazy. Not a fan of the Durango rims that come stock, but the car looks aesthetically clean. Probably said that the wrong way. Red seats too. That's tough. Then we got a Land Rover. G-Chat over there. Honda. Donk. We got this green thing here. And we got our Super Duty. Right, still getting that off-white wrap.